You're on.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Greeley Area Chamber of Commerce, we want to welcome you to our first Common Grounds, where a lot can happen over coffee. In arriving in Greeley, one of the things I really wanted to do was get together with other leaders, people who were really driving things in town. And today we have some of the best with us. So thank you all for joining me this morning. Appreciate having you here, truly. My name is Jamie Henning, and I'm the president of the Greeley Area Chamber of Commerce, proudly representing over 700 businesses here in the Greeley area. We know this is a tough time for our community, and we're all going to have to work together strategically to push customers your way, to communicate relevant developments, to advocate for public policy relief, and to provide assistance and resources to your business during this tough time. We'll be hosting these live on Zoom, and today we're going to come to you recorded, but here in 2 Tuesdays, we'll be back to you live. This will be at 7:30 on Tuesdays, and you won't want to miss them. We'll have standing seats for our mayor, city council, commissioners, and our education partners, and we'll also be inviting special guests onto this forum. We also will allow you to ask some questions. So today I'll go ahead and prop a few of those up for our leaders so you can get to know them a little better. Leadership is a gift, and we're blessed with some really tremendous leaders in the city who have been working tirelessly on your behalf with our regional partners, city partners, state and otherwise. I mentioned it last week, but it's worth mentioning again. Leadership in the time of COVID and beyond looks like healthcare educators who are stretched to the limit, who are really trying to take care of our people, partners in education flipping the script to teach our kids remotely. Thank you, Deirdre. Nonprofits finding new ways to care for those that need it most in our community, and our mayor, John, giving words of comfort even on his personal Facebook page when everyone really needed it most last week. So thank you for that. This moment is unprecedented and calls for extraordinary leadership. And the way we lock arms, albeit virtually right now, social distancing, has the power to really drive recovery in Greeley and for the whole of Weld County and the whole of our country, frankly. So we feel really badly for those companies who are losing ground, but where they're persevering. I've talked to so many of them this week, as I know many of you have, who have put everything on the line to try to make their business a success. But our commitment is to lift them up. I know everyone on this call today will work tirelessly to make sure that those businesses persevere, and we'll find ways to work, be it through marketing and communications and driving help to them. We actually have an exciting announcement tomorrow, so I'll bury the lead a little bit. But if you keep an eye out for things from the chamber, there are some really great movements and some great collaboration going on in the city right now. I'm proud to work with everyone you see on the screen today. We've been meeting as a business response task force led by the chamber. And the goal in that really was to just bring us all together and to communicate more effectively during this time. Everyone is really changing up how they're doing business from a leadership perspective too. So our goal has been to bring everyone together and find new ways of really collaborating. Our agenda this morning is going to give 5 or more minutes to each of our leaders who are on the call. We want to let them explain a little bit how they're tackling their leadership role. My special guests today include our mayor, John Gates. Hi, Mayor. So good to have you with us. Our City Council Chair and Mayor Pro Tem, Dale Hall. Dale, good to have you with us. Our Chair of the County Commissioners, Mike Freeman. Hello, Mike. And then also, finally, Deirdre Pilch, our Superintendent of Schools. Hi, Deirdre. Thank you so much for all you do for us. So we're going to go ahead and kick off the updates. Our goal is to let each of these leaders talk a little bit about all the steps they've been taking during the time of COVID and beyond to really respond well, right? And change their regular way of working to respond to the business community and others. So with that, Mayor John Gates, first elected a mayor in 2017. I hope I have these stats right. We'll hone these as we go, Mayor. And recently winning in a landslide. He is the 49th mayor for the city of Greeley and the one we trust, the one we lean on, and we're thrilled to have him with us today. So with that, John, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you to tell us a little bit about how you've been leading and what that looks like in this time. So thank you.
Thank you, Jamie, and good morning. It's not only my pleasure to be with the chamber, but to appear with 3 colleagues, very good friends and dynamic leaders in Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Pilch, Chair of the County Commissioners, Mike Freeman, and my colleague, Dale Hall from City Council. Very interesting times, ladies and gentlemen. We're entering week 4 of this new and uncertain world. Very few of us like it, but we're getting through it. As I knew would be the case, our community is resilient and strong. Does not surprise me at all. Each day I hear wonderful stories of members of our community coming together to help one another through what are proving to be very difficult times. As a community, we're doing okay, but could certainly do better with regard to social distancing and with the use of masks to cover our face and mouths when we're out in public. You've all seen the statistics like I have, and Weld County is a bit of a hot spot. And while it's true we have a number of really unfortunate deaths in a senior living center, we all need to do a better job to continue to flatten the curve. And I would encourage Greeley residents to do much what I did on my Facebook post, or I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, that let's follow the governor's order. Let's do our part. The sooner we can get through this with our socially distancing, now the masks are a big issue, we're going to be able to move back to where we once were. Because I don't care much for the new normal, but my gosh, we're doing a great job getting through it. We have a number of wonderful people in our community and our county, which I knew that we would. I was going to say a few words which would have usurped the comments of Jamie Henning about a surprise that's coming up. So let me just dance around it a little bit without giving up too many details. When we first started down this path, I commented that I was most concerned about our small businesses, restaurants, and the like to survive this health and economic disaster. I still remain concerned about our small businesses and our restaurants. I've talked to a number of those people, either that are friends of mine or that I've met through the process, and they're struggling, and I knew they would. So in addition to the CARE Act and the Paycheck Protection Plan, our city council will vote this evening on what is a very exciting proposition that will hopefully, in addition to those 2 federal programs, assist our local businesses and restaurants. And I'd like to say more, but I can't. I'm a day early, so stay tuned. And again, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for that. I actually watched a really interesting piece, and I'll forward it to all of you after the call today, on leadership on CBS this morning. And it talked a little bit about just what is required of leadership in this time. And one of the things I appreciate about you during this time, and always, Mayor Gates, is that you say the things that need to be said, right? Unapologetically. You want to make sure that people understand where you stand on the issues. And I think, again, supporting those broader initiatives isn't easy right now. Nobody really wants to hear that this may take longer, but I appreciate everyone on the call for doing what they can to make sure that everybody is safe. I also am with you. I'm very excited to announce what we have coming up, and I think it will help our small businesses. Will it be enough? I think that's the question we're all asking ourselves, but we'll do what we can. So thanks again for being on.
My pleasure.
We'll go ahead and turn it over to our second guest, Dale Hall. Dale serves on the Chamber's Board of Directors and is a longtime leader for Greeley, now serving as our City Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem for Ward 4. Thanks for joining us, Dale, and we'd love to hear your update.
Thank you very much. As the mayor said, I'm not going to repeat anything that he's already talked about, but I do want you to know that the City Council has been working very hard and diligently on getting updates and trying to make the right decisions. We've been meeting Tuesdays and Fridays by Zoom, and then we have a daily update from our city manager by email, and we have what's called the incident support team that the city has put together through Roy Otto about all the different individuals that are working through this process as we try to make things work into the future. And another little thing that is being talked about tonight is what's called the personal isolation facility that we will be talking as a city council to work with individuals that have been diagnosed with COVID or are concerned about being infected with that virus. It gives them an opportunity to stay in place and stay isolated. Thus, the the name of the personal isolation facility. And it's for those people that don't have a place to go. So those people are also needing to be taken care of. And it's helpful to not have them into the general population so that we can continue to work from that part. Both Jamie and the mayor have talked a little bit about the announcements that she's going to come with and we're going to vote on tonight. I have also been working very diligently on a regular basis with trying to figure out how do we get back into gear and how does business recover from this unprecedented time that we find ourselves in. So that has been on top of my mind. And as some of you may know, I have a personal business that is in a property management company, and it's considered essential because I guess people need to have a place to live, and we have to take care of them. And that has taken up 99% of the time that I've been awake to try and keep those things working, and have been helping others try and learn what the CARES Act is going to be and how it can help individuals go from where they're now worried about what they're going to do on a regular basis to where they can actually make it through this process. And I do have to say this morning, I was kind of happy to turn on the news. I have been not turning the news on that much, but this morning, all the conversation seems to be, well, how are we going to open back up? How are we going to get our country back to work? And I think that's the most exciting thing that I've heard in at least a month. So now we're arguing about how we're going to make it work rather than how we're going to make it not work. So I think that's a great position to be in. Thanks.
You're here to that. I think, it's been amazing to watch our city council and the amount of leadership there, right, and support for the business community. So thank you so much for that, for your personal role in that, and to the entire team. So we're excited about what's to come. And yes, I think one of the questions I'll ask you a little later, so I'll give you time to think about it, is what steps we can take to be resilient on the other side of this. I think that's something all of us have in mind. We don't know when that's going to be, but we certainly are thinking about how we're going to contribute there. So I'll ask that here in a little bit. Thanks, Dale. Our third guest is Mike Freeman. He is serving District 1 in his second term. He's a lifetime resident of Weld County, a farmer, rancher, and business owner. Mike, we're so pleased to have you with us today, and we'd love an update on what you and the county commissioners have been doing.
Thank you, Jamie. Yes, it's an honor to be here with fellow elected leaders this morning, and also Superintendent Deidre Pilch. So the county's in a little bit different place than the city to some degree. We've got about just under 1,800 employees, of which about 500 we have teleworking. So we're teleworking with employees where we can, but we have so many critical parts of Weld County that have to continue to operate. And that includes things like the jail, dispatch. Obviously, that's extremely important to the citizens of Weld County. We still have to have first responders out there, so dispatch is extremely important. Obviously, the one that we hate to have to be important, but the coroner's office is also something that we have to have fully functional. We also have community corrections, the health department, also public works. I mean, we had just had a snowstorm, not a very big one, but we still have to continue to make sure that our roads and infrastructure continues to function. So we have a lot of employees that are still out doing their job, serving the citizens of Weld County. We've got, it's a huge county, as you guys know, it's 4,000 square miles. We also have 32 municipalities. One of the things that we've done is we had a phone call last week, conference call with the mayors from all of the towns throughout Weld County, just to try to see where they're at, what their needs are, try to make sure that we're all we're all in this together. We're all working together to try and get through this uncharted territory that we're in. So we've got a number of moving parts going on in Weld County. I think one of the things that's been the message from all of us is, we've got to do social distancing. You've still got to do the critical parts that have got to be there. So while you're out there, remember social distancing, and most of all, use common sense. That's really what's going to help to get through this. We've got to be really careful and make sure that we're doing that to get through, level this curve, and get back to work. it's a huge economic impact that we're going to be seeing in Weld County, and it's the businesses and restaurants in Greeley as well as Evans and throughout Weld County. It's also the importance with what's going on with agriculture and oil and gas and those critical things that matter to Weld County. So as we continue to go through this, I think the one other thing I would like to mention as well is what a great job our COG team has been doing. Our COG team has been up and running for 22 days now. I think that's the longest that we've ever actually had a COG team in operation. Obviously, it's a much longer issue than the flood, but they're doing a number of things, including all of the infrastructure around Weld County. They're taking needs from our local first responders from fire districts from around the county. If they need PPE, if they need those things, they're able to put in orders into the COG, and we're able to somehow be able to find the supplies that we need and continue to make sure that we're keeping all the citizens safe. So I guess I would end with just saying, at the end of the day, this is why I know we're going to come out of this. This is Weld County. That's what we do. We all work together. We're in this together, and we're going to come out of this on the other side better and stronger than we ever were. And that's because of the leadership of all of the people that are on this call today. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much for joining us and for those words. It's very much the truth that we're concerned about Greeley, but we're also concerned about our regional partners. I think on the call yesterday, it rang true again, collaboration over competition, right? We're working with our partners in Evans and beyond and making sure that everyone comes out of this intact and that we stick together. So thank you for that. Our final guest, last but not least in any way, who serves on our board of directors, is Deirdre Pilch. Thanks for joining us. She is the District 6, both Evans and Greeley superintendent, and she also has made us super proud in transforming our school system and advocating for a bond issue. That was one of the first things I had the opportunity to collaborate with her on when I first arrived in Greeley. So she is considered a leader among leaders. I hear that often, and I'm so proud to have her with us today. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jamie. It's an honor to be here. I'm really humbled by the presence of the elected officials. You all inspire me. Mayor Gates, Mayor Pro Tem Hall, and Commissioner Freeman, you're an inspiration to me as a community member here in Greeley and in Weld County, and we're lucky to have you all leading our community in our county. So thank you to all of you. And Jamie, thanks for putting this together. I'm not sure how much I have to offer that's really helpful. I mean, in terms of the work of the school district, we have nearly 3,000 employees. Most of us are working remotely now as we have school going online, distance learning. We do still have nutrition services reporting. Many of our bus drivers are reporting to help deliver food. And many of our grounds folks, HVAC folks, those folks are able actually to get in and work alone, social distancing, and do some work that we can't normally do when school is in session. I can't say enough about our community partners as we've launched into this new way of doing education. We've partnered with Weld Food Bank, with ABC, with United Way, and many agencies to really figure this out and to make sure that our families are getting the services that they need. One of the hardest things has been families that have been quarantined and are sick and may not have food at their homes. And I learned last week that as soon as our nutrition services folks learned about that, we were able to work with the food bank and have our bus drivers and nutrition services folks actually deliver food to the homes of those families. So that's just really getting the basics met. And then there's education. So we've launched all 22,000 of our students, charter and non-charter, in online learning, and it's been remarkable. Our administrators came in off of spring break and helped us to get this up and running. So when children returned after an extended spring break, we were ready to go into online learning. So getting folks internet, getting children devices, Chromebooks and internet devices so that they could do the work has been really critical. All but about 1% of our kids are actually attempting to work online. About 1% have requested paper and pencil, and we're really trying to get our arms around the number of families who still need access to internet, or at least reliable internet. And we all know right now the internet is a little questionable because so many of us are using it. I want to give a big shout out to our teachers. Teachers go into education to be in a classroom with children, and to be able to high five children and sit with children and do their work, and for teachers to come away from that setting and to work in this way, and to do it over the internet with children is just a very different way of instruction. And our teachers have stepped up and are doing remarkable work. And our children are working hard. And our teachers are doing this while maybe they have their own children at home and are caring for their own children and trying to get their own children online to learn, and then they're teaching their students. And so we've been able to do that with the help of a lot of people. So our secretaries, our teachers' assistants, our campus monitors, everybody's pitching in and doing whatever they can to ensure that we're getting every student educated in this, this complex time. I want to say one more thing, and then I'll stop talking and turn it back to you, Jamie. Our parents, many of our parents have been ordered to work at home, and they're at home with their own children, and now they have to facilitate the learning. Even though there's a teacher on the other side there, it isn't like a teacher sitting there for 6 hours a day talking to the kid on the computer. I mean, they're providing that initial instruction and work, and then they're turning it over to the family to ensure that the children are educated. And so huge shout out to our parents who are managing that and figuring that out every single day. We don't know if we'll be back in school this year. That's really hard. We're following the advice of our county health department and the orders of the governor, and it's very unlikely we'll be back this year in brick and mortar school. And so we're figuring that all out. What does that mean for the transitions that occur at the end of the school year, like graduation and, moving from 8th grade to 9th grade, and those big deal things that happen at the end of the school year. So we'll get it figured out. We meet every day. Mayor Gates is our chief of safety and security, and he's on my cabinet. So he's fortunate to be in a meeting every single day with me at about 9 a.m. as we continue to plan and progress in this new way of doing K-12 education.
Thank you so much for your positivity too. That was one of the things that struck me most about you. You always find a way to make the lemonade and a way to champion people who are working with you, who are some of our most important heroes in this story, in my opinion. So I wanted to take a little time to get to know you better. We can talk about issues in the city, and I probably will wrap with asking you all how we lead our way out of this and become resilient on the other side. But one of the things I was challenged to do, graduates, right, are some of the people being focused on right now, because graduations may be something that need to happen differently, proms, different things that kids view as kind of those mile markers. So, but we will tackle that. And so I was asked to give some leadership advice to a new graduate, and I thought this might be interesting to learn from all of you. So just to let our audience get to know you a little better, one of the things they asked was, what was your first job after graduation? So I'm going to pitch that out to the audience. And Deirdre, I don't know if you want to tackle that first, but that's a pretty good way to get to know people, and they might be surprised by your answers. So I'll pitch it to you first.
Well, this probably will surprise you. I actually flagged for construction the first summer after I graduated high school. My dad worked for the highway department, and he said, if you think you're going to college, you got to earn some money to go to college. And so you're going to work flagging for construction. And so I did. Stood out there on the highway 10, 12 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week, and earned as much money as I could to get started in college.
Nice. Excellent. Mike, I'll just go in reverse order back through our speakers. What was your first job?
Well, so my first job was the same job I had when I was in high school and in college. I grew up on a farm and ranch, and so I was out farming and ranching with my grandpa from the time that since I was probably 10 years old. I was probably driving a truck on the county roads back then when things were a little bit different, from about the age of 10, running tractors and farming and ranching. So that was my first job, and that was really my only job until for quite a while in my life.
Yeah, great. Good to know that too. And led to your later choices as well, right? So yeah, no, he instilled some good things. I'll just insert myself here too. I, like Mike, grew up on a small farm in southeastern Nebraska. So I did a lot of bottle feeding calves and like things. So yeah, that's good to know. Mayor Gates, I'll go ahead and turn that over to you. We're all curious. So.
My first job after graduating was in law enforcement. I developed a desire at some point in college to be a law enforcement officer. Was hired by Greeley Police Department right at 21. They sent me back to college in the way of a police academy, spent 3 months in a police academy. Subsequently served for just shy of 26 years on the Greeley Police Department, was not looking to go anywhere. School district at that time came to me and offered me the job that I still have. Worked out really well because I had almost 26 years in law enforcement and I was only 46 years old. So it was perfect time to retire. I felt like I retired on top. Went to the school district, just about to complete 17 years at the school district. So my entire adult life has been in some form of law enforcement. And really I'm asked occasionally, what would you do differently in your career path? And my answer is unequivocally nothing.
Oh, that's great. The seed for service sown early, right? With you for sure. So yeah, thank you for that. And then Dale, we'll go ahead and turn that over to you.
You're muted, Dale.
We still got you on mute. Sorry.
Okay,
There we go.
there we go. Like Mike, my first job after graduation was the same job I had during my senior year, and that was in a local auto parts store. But then I was in the process of trying to avoid the draft, so I joined the Army instead of being drafted, and went 3 years and worked in Washington, D.C., and then came back home and went to work for the Will County Sheriff's Office. So those are the things that I've been around in Greeley and Weld County all my life, and I'm very proud to be here still. So.
Yeah, thank you too for your service. This leans actually nicely into that question too. And maybe some of these lessons were learned on your first job or maybe later. But do you have any words of wisdom for someone just getting started on their leadership journey? What would you tell someone just graduating of all the things you've learned being a leader that you think is important? And I'm not going to throw it out in any particular order. Someone can just hop in if you have something to share.
So sure, I'll start this time. So I think one of the most important things about being a leader is, I think, beyond anything else, and that is listen. You need to listen to what people have to say. You don't always need to be the one that speaks first. You do much better if you listen. I learned when I was on a school board for 8 years up at Highland as well. And what I learned from parents is that, a lot of the times they don't really want you to fix their problem. What they really want to know is to know that somebody is listening to their problem, understanding what that is. And that goes a long ways to alleviating their issues. Even though you can't completely fix it, they know they've been heard, they know you care, and they know you're doing whatever you can to try and make that better.
Great advice.
I think Mike's so right about listening. That probably my two biggest traits as a leader, regardless of what capacity I'm in, listening and communicating. Really learned to communicate in law enforcement. I know for sure that I got out of a lot of sticky situations in law enforcement by being able to communicate and take a person that's really heated down a level or two, and that will usually calm the situation down. So that's probably my biggest strength. Certainly we all have strengths and weaknesses, and I do as well, but I pride myself in being a good communicator. And then it's cliche as a leader, but to be transparent. And I don't hide too much of what I'm thinking from anybody, but I feel better in the long run that the person knows where I stand regardless of what capacity. And I hope that's a reasoned, common sense response, but communication is a key word for me.
Yeah, it's good advice. Absolutely.
And the one thing I would like to say is that when you're going into a leadership position, make sure you're going in it for the right reason. And to me, the right reason is to help out your community. It's not to try and boost yourself up and make you look better, but it's for you doing something that will turn around and make the whole society better.
Absolutely. Deirdre.
Wow, I agree with all of my colleagues, and I'll just add a little bit and say, I think part of being a good leader is really figuring out what you love and what feeds your spirit, and then how do you turn that into your work. And I think when you can have joy in your work, then you're leading in a way that you're helping people, as Dale said. The other thing I'm going to say, and I think our seniors are learning this right now, is you have to have some ambiguity tolerance. And you have to learn to tolerate ambiguity and to go with the unknown, and sometimes just trust the universe, and believe that you're going to find a solution. That as long as you're working really hard, you're going to find a solution. And right now, our seniors, as they're getting ready to graduate high school, they've got to have some ambiguity tolerance, because there's a lot of things really uncertain about their graduation and their fall next fall. And so that's my advice.
Yep, adaptability. I think someone in my office used to tell me the people who survive are the adaptable ones, right? So it's really, really important how you learn to roll with things, and how you learn to step up in those moments. So all good advice. I'll share a little bit of myself today, in that I'm an avid reader. I love to read. You can see my bookshelf behind me, lots of books, usually leadership books or self-improvement books, or you name it. So one of the other questions asked on there is, what is your favorite leadership book? If you could pass along with them a book that they could really dig into and say, okay, I'm going to take away some great things from this, what would that be for you all?
Mine's probably Good to Great. Was it Jim Collins, Dr. Pilch?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I've read a lot over the years, like Stephen Covey a lot, but Good to Great probably stands out, probably rises to the top.
Like it. Any others?
I would have to agree with John. In fact, I was introduced to Good to Great by our former superintendent up at Highland, Dennis Shearer. He actually was an instructor in Good to Great at the board, and I completely agree with John on that.
Mm-hmm. Something our cabinet has been working on lately is, it's a book goes with it called The Strengths Finder. It's the Clifton Strengths Finder. But we have done some work around our strengths, then leaning into our strengths. Then as the crisis hit and we had gotten through the first 10 days or so, and I brought the cabinet together in this way, I said, I had them start one of our meetings saying, how are you leaning into your strengths right now? And that was a lot of fun. So I think there's a lot to be learned by leaning on our strengths.
Absolutely. Dale, anything you want to add there?
I've read most of Stephen Covey's books, so I can't pick one out in particular. And other than Tom Clancy, oh wait, that's not a fiction.
You know what? Enjoyment reading is all that too. I'll throw this one out to Dale's comment earlier. So Simon Sinek's Start With Why is one of my absolute favorites. I think if you're someone working in a leadership role, to Dale's point earlier, do it for the right reasons, right? Most people are dangerous who say they want to be the boss. That is not what you should be after. You should be after what your why is, right? Why you're helping people, what audience you hope to serve. And I think everybody on this call had some form of service in mind. In my case, that's serving our business community and making sure we prop them up through good times and rough times. So that's a good one. And it talks about why you do what you do. So that's important. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to one question about our community as we start to wrap up the call today. And that is, as you're thinking about how we pull ourselves through this time, that's something we've never tackled before. What is something you think we need to keep in mind, or something you think we need to do to be resilient on the other side of this as a city, as a region, inside our own organizations? What would be your advice, and what do you hope to see us do as we move forward? And I'll maybe start in reverse order with Dale this time. Sorry, I'll direct it around to all of you, but I think it's important, and I think it's been on all of our minds. So I'm curious for your thoughts. As I said earlier, I'm in the property management company, and a lot of people were trying to ask me questions about whether or not our tenants were going to pay rent. And I have to tell you right now that the vast majority of them have been paying rent. And the reason is, I believe, is because that's what you need to do. You just need to continue to do it. And I think we work into the future by saying that we can do it, and we have that attitude, and that's our purpose in life. So I think we can do it. Wonderful. Mayor, any thoughts from you? I'm sure you've been thinking on this.
Oh, certainly have. You know, we're looking at the city, we're looking for recovery. We're, of course, evaluating our budgets, which everybody is, excuse me. I think the thing I'd like to see the most is that we patronize local businesses like never before. My wife and I have done a lot of carry out. One, because neither one of us really cooks a lot, but more importantly, to represent the businesses, the restaurants that are struggling, that have a skeleton crew on to do carry out. And I think I miss those days where you pull up at a restaurant and it's crowded and you go in and you have a 30-minute wait or so, because that means that our economy is being stimulated again and we can get not only our restaurants, but our small business back on their feet. Because the last thing I want to see as the mayor of this community is businesses or restaurants that simply cannot survive this. And I like to think enough mechanisms are set up to get them through it, but we want to do our part to ensure that happens as well, because while I'm still proud to be in Greeley, I sort of want my old Greeley back, and we'll be there sooner or later. You're all, many of you are scared, you're anxious. I completely understand that, but we'll get through this. And it's a cliche, it's been used a lot, but we will be stronger than ever. We are tighter as a community through Zoom and through the things we're doing as a community than I ever thought we would. So I'm thinking positive thoughts moving forward, and want our citizens to do their part to get us through this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. The unprecedented collaboration needs to continue beyond this moment. Absolutely. So thank you, Mayor. Absolutely. Mike, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Yeah, so I agree completely with what John said. I think that you know, the biggest concern that I have is the economic crisis that we're putting ourselves into this. I think the biggest issue coming out of this, it's not going to be like flipping a light switch. There's a lot of fear factor. To get past that fear factor and have people being comfortable to go out to restaurants as we come out of this, and continuing to support all of our small businesses. You know, it's one of the things that everybody's doing that in their own communities. I know it's one of the things that we've been doing as much as we can up in our area as well. We've got a number of small businesses up in the Alton area that we're also trying to support, and making sure that you go to those restaurants. I think the other thing that I see going on out there is amazing a number of tips that are much higher than what normal tips would be. People are doing their part. I'm just amazed at how much people are trying to do their part to try and make sure that businesses do stay viable, because it's extremely important to this entire county that we see these businesses survive. And so I think that's what we're all looking at the end of the day, is to get through this as quickly as we can, as safely as we can, and get back to where we were. And I do agree, I've said it a number of times, this is Weld County. We all work together. All of our communities work together, and we're going to come out of this better and stronger than ever before.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Deirdre, I'll turn it over to you.
Oh, it's hard to follow you guys. So I'll come at it a little differently from the school district in terms of, you know, we have worked so hard to improve our image as a school district. And we say, I am District 6, we are District 6. And I think that's what we have to do in our community, is we have to be Greeley-Evans, we have to be Weld County, and we have to support each other, and we have to continue to tell good stories about the great things that are happening in this community. We have to share those stories, we have to celebrate those stories, we have to be proud that we live and work here, and we get to be a part of this time. For education, I truly believe because of this, we will advance education in a way where we personalize for students and families in a way we would have never moved this quickly had we not been forced to go virtual and to go online. So I think we're going to see a dramatic change in K-12 education as a result of this, that will be very, very good for children. So I'm excited about that. As much as I hate working this way, I do think it is causing us to shift very quickly. So the other thing I want to say, in case somebody watches this, that there are many of us who are still working and are still getting paid. And there's money we would have spent on things like our cleaning ladies, our nail technicians, our hairstylists, our dry cleaners, eating out, that we can continue to do that. Even though I might not be having my cleaning ladies come to my home, they still need an income. And so, I want to say to folks, think about that. Think about what is your part in this community to make sure that at the end of this, we come out in a better and stronger place, as both the mayor and Commissioner Freeman have said. I mean, we need to come out stronger on the other end of this. And Mayor Pro Tem mentioned his tenants are paying rent because it's the right thing to do. And I will tell you, I bet you many of your tenants are in the service industry, and they may not be getting paid right now, or not getting paid as much as they were. And so I just want to challenge our community to say, what is your part? What is your part? And let's each do our part, and we will come out better on the other side of this.
Amazing. Yeah. I am so proud to work alongside the leaders on this call. I can't even begin to tell you. You've had so much great advice. I saw something that I thought kind of wrapped up the moment today well, and it said, nothing should go back to normal. Normal wasn't working. If we go back to the way things were, we will have lost the lesson. May we rise up and do better. To Dr. Pilch's and many of your comments. Our goal from here on out is there will be a before and after, and hopefully we'll be changed for the better, right? The moments when we come back together and we get to be in each other's presence will be valued differently. I think the way we look at the heart of our community and our businesses and what they bring, no one ever thought supply chains might be damaged and they couldn't get the things they need. There'll be a different value placed on those businesses that are the heart of our community. And I hope we all look at each other differently and value those relationships. So that's the goal coming out of this. The Greeley Area Chamber has been so proud to work alongside you. We'll continue to do that. We do that on a regular basis. It's been really important right now. And so if you're a member, an investor, and you're watching this today, I want to thank everyone who has been on the call. I also want to thank you for agreeing to show up with us with regularity so we can talk about the important issues of the day with members. You can find a lot of information on greeleychamber.com, and we'll continue to work as a resource for you right now while you're working your way through this. But we want to thank you all for being with us today. We want to thank you for your care of the community, and know that we're here with you, and we'll come out on the other side of this even more resilient. So thanks for being with us on our inaugural Chamber Coffee, and we'll see you here in 2 weeks. Thanks, everyone.